Hi, my name is Sarah Jansen, and today I will be presenting Progress Bar, Support for Student Success, a project by Team Shan't Be Named. We were a 5-member project team that included Jessica Pettengill, who has a background in magazine writing and served as one of our researchers. Holly Height also has a background in writing, as well as literature and Native American studies, and she also served as one of our researchers. Erin Bretz headed up prototyping and usability, and she has a background in history. Ista Manfredini also has a background in magazine writing and served as our marketing coordinator and audience developer. And again, my name is Sarah Jansen. I have a background in writing and editing, and I served as the team's producer. For this project, we were looking at the broad theme of undergraduate discontent. And this outlines the final project that we came to through a process of design thinking. Our project included a physical installation that encouraged students to share the story of how they chose their major and provided a way for them to ask questions of experts, including professors, alumni, and professionals. The project team connected the questions to experts and distributed answers via social media through Twitter, Facebook, as well as a WordPress blog. A culminating event was held to encourage participation in the project, as well as to connect students with campus resources, including the Career Center and Office of Student Life. Throughout this process, we had one sentence problem statement that guided us in our goals for what we wanted to achieve through this project. We wanted to develop a transmedia experience that engages Ball State students to connect with resources and communities to help guide their academic path, and include a way for students to share individual inspirations and passions. So that statement outlined several goals that we wanted to achieve through this project. We wanted it to be a transmedia experience that had digital and physical elements. We wanted to target Ball State students. We wanted to make connections to support as well as to potential mentors. We also wanted to provide connections among students through the sharing of stories. And we were aiming for a minimum of 100 people to interact with the project. Through research, we identified a number of constraints. We knew that we could not effectively address the financial burdens students face, as this can often relate to discontent among undergraduates. We also knew that we couldn't change academic programs or offerings. We also couldn't change what professors teach classes. We also couldn't address outside pressures such as family. Other project constraints were time, and this was time to develop the project, time to build it, as well as time to have it displayed and answer the questions that students submitted. We were working with limited funding, and because we were targeting Ball State students and wanted to display the project on campus, we also had to work within university regulations. One of the first things that we did was to conduct initial academic research to ensure that undergraduate discontent was actually a problem. We found that it was a problem, a broad problem that had many causes and symptoms. From there, we conducted further primary research to narrow the scope of our project. This research included 25 academic journals and articles, 50 ethnographic interviews, 10 expert interviews, a student group observation, and we also asked 3 professionals to keep journals for a week. There were many key findings as a result of our research, but as a group, we voted on those we wanted to focus on in our problem statement. And as we developed the project idea, 2 key findings emerged as those that were best addressed via the final prototype. These were access to guidance affects contentment and academic success. One of our interviewees said that when she was confused or didn't understand something, she had someone she could go to. And this was an honors student talking about her advisor on her honors project. The second key finding, drawing from those who have similar experiences, helps improve the chances for success during and after college. For this statement, we talked to a writer who was in an author group who said, just being around other authors who understand what it is to be a writer helped me a great deal. After research, we moved on to ideation and prototyping. We started with a brainstorm for the project team members that yielded 30 to 40 ideas, and from there, the team voted to narrow these ideas down to 7. These 7 were sketched into low-fidelity prototypes and tested on 15 users. Those 15 users chose the top 2 ideas, which were then moved to mid-fidelity prototyping. Further usability testing determined the top idea, and that was the final project that we came up with, called Progress Bar. The picture that you see on the screen is actually the low-fidelity prototype of Progress Bar, which at that time was called Asking Questions. So this is just an example of what our low-fidelity prototypes looked like in sketched form. So from there, we took the 2 ideas to mid-fidelity prototypes, and this is, on the left, a photo of the storyboard of Progress Bar, and on the right, a picture of a mid-fidelity prototype of a test of the physical installation that we put up in the Arts and Journalism building. In that photo, you can see at the top, we have a guide that has 3 different questions that we ask students to choose from to answer, and their answers are on the cards pinned on the clothesline below. What we learned from our mid-fidelity prototype was that people liked the physical and public aspect of the display. They enjoyed that we provided different ways for them to engage, both physically through the installation as well as through social media. One of our users said that they would be more apt to use social media because they might not have time to hang the card. In providing 3 different prompts at the mid-fidelity prototype level, we were hoping to find the one that students liked the most and wanted to use that one as the one that people would answer in the physical installation, but we actually found that users preferred a choice. So in the end, we provided 2 questions that they could choose from to answer. We also found that people liked incentives and that there must be a clear guide to prevent people from being confused and easily making the decision to move on and not participate. Those were some of the positive things that we heard. We also heard some negative things, and based on this feedback, we made a number of changes to the mid-fidelity prototype. There was interest in making this project more department specific, and people had concerns about whether their questions would actually be answered. And at the mid-fidelity prototype level, our users didn't believe that we effectively addressed the problem statement as well as the key findings, and that this project didn't offer a connection between students and support or a mentor. So we took this feedback and made changes. We added the culminating event at the end of the week-long display of the installation. We also added social media elements to foster these connections among students as well as between students and support or mentors, potential mentors, as well as campus resources. We decided to put the physical installation in Letterman to narrow the number of majors that might participate in the project to help us more easily answer the questions in a timely manner. So from there, we developed the high-fidelity prototype that was built and put into action. We used familiar physical and digital spaces to create an evocative space where students can connect with experts as well as each other. We incorporated mystery box in the colorful cards that were displayed on the installation to pique curiosity of passersby. On the day of the culminating event, we dispersed QR code cards throughout the Arts and Journalism building to lead people to Letterman to the event. The QR code on the card also led people to the Facebook event page where they could find more information about the project and about the event. We provided participants with varying levels of interaction. They could choose to participate in the physical display, attend the event, participate purely online, or not at all. We left fragments of the story narrative in physical and digital spaces, in the questions posed on the physical installation, in the answers distributed digitally, as well as the resources available at the final event for the project. We also offered hot chocolate and candy canes at the culminating event to entice students to stop by and participate. And one of our project partners also provided water bottles as incentives for students to participate in our project. This is a photo of the physical installation that was put up in Letterman. You can't see the PVC piping, but there's piping on either side of the clothesline holding up the installation. You can see the colorful cards that are pinned up using clothespins. And also in the center, you can see the poster that served as the guide to provide instructions for students to participate, providing both of the prompts that they could choose from, as well as more information about where they could find information about the project in digital spaces like Twitter and Facebook. In total, we had 70 cards that were filled out by students. These included about 30 interactions that we had at the final event on the last day of the display. So far, 10 experts have responded to questions via Twitter, email, as well as 2 that we interviewed and recorded and posted as podcasts. We conducted 10 interviews with participants, 6 during the culminating event, and 4 who participated in the event throughout the week participated in the physical display before the event, who were contacted via email and filled out a survey. So as a reminder, the problem statement that we set out to solve was to develop a transmedia experience that engages Ball State students to connect with resources and communities to help guide their academic path, and include a way for students to share individual inspiration and passion. We developed a transmedia experience by creating an evocative space, using mystery boxes, providing varying levels of interaction, and engaging students with incentives. We targeted Ball State students by putting the physical installation in a campus building. We helped connect students with resources and communities, and we know this through our usability testing interviews. One participant said, "I think social media plays a big role in how we connect with each other on and off campus. Having the ability to let this be a social media presence allows students to connect with one another even though they may not know each other or may not be face-to-face." We provided a way for students to share individual inspiration and passion. One participant said that she loved the project. She thought it helped motivate people to tell why they're here. They're here to do what they love. It's not just class. It's about pursuing what you really want to do with your life. These usability findings helped us also determine how well we address the key findings that we set out to achieve in the project. One was that access to guidance affects contentment and academic success. We found that 7 out of our 10 users that we interviewed agreed that the project offered a way to connect with support and advice. One person that we interviewed said oftentimes students do have these questions, but they don't know who to direct them to. This is a good way to find that person to answer those questions. The second key finding was drawing from those who have similar experiences helps improve chances for success during and after college. And again, 7 out of our 10 users agreed that the project served as a way to connect with other students' experiences and concerns. One participant said, I like that it showed me that others had similar concerns or inspirations as I do. So if we were going to continue developing and iterating this project, there are a number of things that we might consider changing based on usability testing. And one is to develop a way to find answers faster. Even though we did have 10 experts answer questions, we had 70 cards filled out, and many of those were questions that students posed. So we really, over the 2-week period, didn't get even half of those questions answered. We also might consider incorporating answers into the physical installation so that people know and can see physically that their question or other people's questions were answered. To help with this, we might allow people to respond to others' questions on the physical installation. And even though we did hear that social media is a good way for students to connect to one another and connect to experts, some of our users were still not convinced that these connections made on the digital space met the problem that we set out to solve. We also might try to look into finding a way to assure participants that we would follow up with their questions and really try to get those answered. We also heard from users that they would be interested in adding multiple locations or move the display after a certain length of time. So that was the rundown of our project, and that's all I have to present to you today. Thank you for your time.